we are literally just like psychologically conditioned to be living on bird food for some reason. Well, we know there is plenty of reasons for that. And that then in turn makes it very difficult for us to do that, even if we have someone telling us to keep eating. That also makes us feel uncomfortable. And that then in turn doesn't allow us to stay in that calorie surplus for the amount of time we need to do so to build enough muscle, which is then the next common mistake. You need to stay in a calorie surplus for at least 6 to 12 months. You can't keep going, oh, I'm getting a little bit fat, so let's do an 8-week mini cut. 2 weeks later, finally built up your calories again. Too full, no, 6 week, or suddenly you have like a holiday booked and then you're instantly on a 6-week mini cut again. That's what people do all the time. The amount of times I get my clients, even though they know better, and then suddenly freak out, there is periods, they're a little bit bloated, and they'll be like, oh shit, I can't do this any longer. Let's do a mini cut. No, 6 to 12 weeks.
I don't even look at you two.
I don't even look over there. You know who you are.
I feel really seen right now.
Yeah, I try not to keep looking at you there because you're right there, and I'm just like, they will know exactly what I'm about. Anyway, so calorie surplus. I know it's hard. That's again why some people need coaches, because we have this like emotional connection to our bodies, and then obviously then comes the hormones on top of that, so it's like a whole roller coaster, and then one day you look in the mirror, you feel great, and then the next day you look in the mirror, you feel fat, so you're going on a cut, whatever. So you can't do that. Consistency is the other massive common mistake. So you need consistency, the calorie surplus, and being in that calorie surplus for a long enough period of time. Do you want to pick up from that or add to that?
I was going to add that I think I personally struggled with that a little bit in off seasons, gaining quite a lot of weight. And what it really comes down to is you building up your self-esteem and not only liking yourself when you're at your leanest. Like, how would I describe it? Us worrying that we've gained a few kilograms, or our face is a bit puffy, or we feel like we've got a bit of a belly, is only something that's a problem in our head. Like, I totally get it, because we all live in this society where we're like shoved with models in our faces on Instagram 24/7 who have all been airbrushed to shit. So like, it's impossible to not compare yourself to that standard. But what we have to kind of do is just remember that's kind of a bubble, and once we break that bubble and we're like, none of that is real, and I need to stick to like what's important to me. If I really want to build these glutes or these legs because that is going to increase my general self-confidence and I like feeling strong, like, fuck what other people think, because no one else is thinking it. I know that we kind of are internalized to think it, but no one is. So when we can remove that feeling of worrying about what other people are thinking, worrying what other people look like, worrying what other people are doing, and just focus on like, you know, that vision of what you want, the more you sit in that realm of being uncomfortable, it gets a lot easier. But if you instantly jump out of it and say, I'm going to cut now, you'll never challenge yourself to be more comfortable at your leanest. Yeah, does that make sense? So it's a way of building confidence. Long story, fucking short. I was also going to say, like, the approach to tracking calories. It's a really common mistake with dieting as well. But like, if you track Monday to Friday and you're in a surplus, and then the weekend you forget and you're out and blah 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 blah, that still counts. If you're in a deficit then the weekend, that can impact your weekly overall target.
Which is again a common mistake, that people are always so focused when it comes to a fat loss phase, but when it comes to a calorie surplus phase or a hypertrophy phase, somehow the focus just goes. And it's crazy to me, because you have higher calories, so you can enjoy yourself more, even if you track and even if you stay on top of everything. But what most people do is then they lose interest because it's obviously a slower process, it's a longer process, and somehow it's a less important process in their head. And then that's another reason why you then have to go into a cut 2 months down the line, because you did get fat because you didn't give a shit about tracking your calories. So
it's another, so to train like a bodybuilder, to kind of go through this bodybuilding approach and build your glutes, really will challenge you to test your discipline and your patience. And I think that's why bodybuilders, this is why I liked being a bodybuilder, is because I didn't care if people thought, oh, she's really muscly or she's really fit, whatever. I liked being, my body was a physical representation of my commitment, my discipline, my willpower, my consistency, but my commitment to myself. That's what it represented, muscle to me. And that's what it takes. But what you learn in that process is life skills, which will transgress across all other areas of your life. Like, bodybuilders are hyper-productive people, and this is why, because they've practiced those life skills.
I always find that time management on your daily